You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun.
Hey everybody, guess what? The boys are back. It's Friday's Finest. Yes, right here on the Doug Collins podcast. So happy that so many of you have been excited about this. I've been getting lots of great feedback. Having James, Chip, all aboard with us. I mean, Chip, the prognosticator extraordinaire, the man, the myth, the legend from Cobb County, Georgia. And then you got James, the Texas transplant by way of New Jersey. We can't just continue without getting our Texas influence here. And, of course, I'm with you all the time. A lot going on. Can't wait to get after the break. We'll be ready to go. I got everybody's ready. A lot still going on. We're going to touch lightly on some real events, which is just looking more and more like a episode of Veep than it is anything else in D.C., the tragedy around the world with Israel and what's going on over there since we again, what's really interesting is you're going to find out after the break is what's really interesting is what changes between Friday to Friday. What we think is going to happen has been the big things that don't happen on Friday. So, folks, it is time. Doug Collins Podcast, Friday's Finest, right after the break.
Hey, folks, when you look out and you see the country and just the disarray it is, you see the Biden administration, you see the wholesale prices have just went through the roof again. Inflation is tearing us up. If you have your finances all impinged in just a few areas, if you're just in stocks and bonds and you're not diversified, I got some news for you. You need a navigator. You need somebody to help you get to where you need to go with those finances. And I can't think of anybody better to do that than my friends at Legacy Precious Metals. You need precious metals in that portfolio. You need gold and silver. And Legacy Precious Metals, the folks there, they're the navigators. They know how to deal with tough times. They know and how to look ahead and take your personal situation and make it something that can be workable for you in the long term, because that's at the end of the day, that's the one you're most concerned about. You need to make sure that your personal finances and your retirement are secure. You need folks like Legacy Precious Metals helping you in that. They will take the time to learn you. They'll learn your finances. They'll learn where your investment goals are, and they'll help you get there. And metals and gold right now in this kind of crazy inflation, in this kind of crazy economy with the Biden's economy is just, you need that help. And Legacy Precious Metals is the one to do that. So give Legacy Precious Metals a call, 866-528-1903, 866-528-1903, or you can always visit them online at legacypminvestments.com, and you can download their free investor's guide. Legacy Precious Metals, they're the ones you need. They're the navigators to help you through these turbulent times.
Hey everybody, it's MyPillow's 20th year anniversary, and over 80 million MyPillows have been sold. Mike Lindell and MyPillow wants to thank each of you and every one of you for giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. You will receive a queen-size MyPillow for $19.98. Regular price is $69.98, and just $10 more for a king size. You will receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products, such as bed sheets, mattress toppers, pet beds, mattresses, my slippers, and so much more. This is a time to try out something other than the amazing products that you've had your eye on. Go to mypillow.com, click on the radio podcast square, and use the promo Collins, Collins, to receive this amazing offer on the queen size MyPillow for $19.98, or call 800-986-3994. This offer comes with a 10-year warranty and 60-day money-back guarantee. It's time to start getting the quality sleep you deserve. You know how I know that? Because I sleep on a MyPillow every night. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code Collins, Collins, or call 800-986-3994 today. All right, we're back. There's Chip, there's James. Okay, first, I got to start out, guys. Guys, I don't know what it's been the last few weeks. I had a kid get married. We were off. Y'all are going into the Friday's Finest a few weeks ago saying, we're going to have a shutdown. Then we don't have a shutdown. And then we have a speaker kicked out of the speaker's office. And then we have Israel get invaded by Hamas. Now Israel's about to invade Gaza Strip. And we still don't have a speaker. I mean, What is it between Fridays? I mean, what's the major? We ought to start a segment called "Let's Predict Next Friday's Finest." What happened?
Well, I can tell you that at the rate that the House is going to pick a speaker, Patrick McHenry might go down in history as one of the longest-serving speakers in the
House. Who never passed the bill? Yeah,
never passed the bill. I mean, Doug, it's just. I mean, there's no explanation for it. I mean, when you were gone a couple weeks ago, James and I were on here talking about how long the shutdown was going to be, and I think we set the over under at 17 days, and we're 14 days into this now. I mean, well, we're less than 14 days into it because the shutdown was averted the next Saturday, and then it was the Monday or Tuesday that they had to vote for the speaker. But I don't know how to handicap this. I do know that there were odds that were posted yesterday, and I think the odds have been changing very quickly. And but the over/under rounds were set on the betting windows to get a speaker at 6.5, with the under being the favorite at -105 and the over being the underdog at +20. And then they had the odds that Speaker Scalise being -300, Jim Jordan at +180. Here's one thing that I thought was interesting. The field was at +600, which I thought was a pretty good value bet, and I still do. I mean, Doug, how do you see this playing out?
Hey, put my money on the field at this point, because look, for those of us who've been in those rooms, and this is torture. Okay, I have been fielding calls. I'm traveling this week, and my phone has just been blowing up. And I've been talking to members, leadership, everybody. And now as we record this, and this is what we're having to record, folks, here on Friday. There is no hope. Scalise has no path to victory. Jordan has no path to victory, although some of his people are now saying he ought to jump back in. Okay, you just lost with 99 votes. I don't know how you think you now have 217 votes. There are people who didn't vote for you because they don't like you to start with, okay? And just like Scalise, he barely got 110. I mean, that was so crazy. We let the 3 delegates vote, and the 3 delegates can't go to the floor. So instead of 113, he has 110 votes. And 8 people just voted for the field. And so, no, I see this. I think by the time most people are listening to this on Friday, I think the House will have adjourned. They're going home for the weekend, if not as early, if not already home. They'll come back next week. And I do believe it's the field at this point. But it's just sad, because now you have these two, sort of what we've talked about a lot. They can't win. I just don't see a path for either one of them. And for either one to think that they could is just ridiculous at this point. They're going to have to find somebody, and it's just ugly at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with that. Don't you think, Doug, that there's also and look, I like Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise. I think they'd both be really good speakers, and they serve the party very well. But I don't think either one of them are going to get a chance to, because don't you think there's also a certain segment of the conference that will not vote for Jim Jordan because he had a majority of the 8 people that voted to remove Kevin McCarthy, right? I mean, it's almost like then Matt Gaetz wins, right? And so, there's that segment going on too. And so where do you but I mean, who's a compromised speaker, right? I mean, maybe Patrick.
Yeah,
maybe.
And Patrick's made it clear he don't want it. And I mean, you're going to hear names like Stefanik come up. You're going to hear Emmer come up. You're going to hear, I think, even, start getting out of the. I mean, some people say Tom Cole, and I like Tom Cole a lot. Thank the world. I just don't think Tom can get the votes, especially from especially with the budget group. They're just not going to get it. And
the Trump people don't want Tom Emmer.
No, they don't. And then you got Mike Johnson out there from Louisiana. Mike's a good guy. I like Mike a lot. But it's just, you're just not going to see this happen. And really now it's gotten to be personality. And it's even bigger at this point when you have members coming out and saying and using the words, the 8 traitors put us into this mess, and using that term over and over and over again. Look up, if you want to look up who said it, all you got to do is Google it. It's out there. But I mean, it's just, and because I'm not trying to put gas on this fire, but this is what you're seeing. And, the members, but also though, Chip, and this will be this will be the wrap up on this thing. And I think you and I both can agree. This has been, and we may spend some more time on a different subject of this. This has been a 13-year fire. This fire has been building for 13 years. Ever since the one in 2010, They took the majority in 2011. This has been a burning fire beneath the surface in D.C. in the Republican conference. It just has. It's the ideological, we want it our way or no way. We don't really think compromise is the way, and we believe the American people are behind us on it. Okay, a valid point to have if you can have it back it up. But if you don't agree with them, we're going to torch the place. And I go back to this statement before. We've had 3 Republican speakers since 2011. 2 of them got run off, and 1 got voted off the island. I don't see how you fix that.
I agree. I agree, and I don't know when next week's show. I mean, I'm not, I'm not optimistic at the time that that we record next week's show that we'll have a speaker. It might take another 10 days, 14 days. I mean, it might, like the old saying, it'll get worse before it gets worse. And I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, I think so too. And also for all those out there who are saying, oh, this will help us get a better deal. You're now staring at an omnibus or CR. There's no way around it. Okay, just, you don't have to, because just passing these bills, even if you could get a new speaker, passing the bills ain't going to do it. The Senate, here will be an interesting thing. I do think there'll be pressure ranked up next week because the Senate's not been in this week. They come back next week. So yes, when the Senate comes back in next week, that's going to cause pressure because you're going to get, Senate's getting ready to start dumping Israeli bills, support stuff. They're getting ready to start sending them over to the House. So by the time we tape next week, who knows? I'm sort of with you a little bit. I'm not sure we actually have a solution, but folks, that's why you come into us every week. You come to the Doug Collins podcast. We talk about it. Today also, just real quickly, I can't not say this. The big event of the week was after we tapped off last week. You wake up on Saturday morning. I've been in Huckabee world. I did a Huckabee show last week. I'm in Nashville, and I wake up to tweets about Hamas invading the southern part of Israel. Tragic. I mean, horrendous. These people are butchers. They're terrorists. They're the lowest form of earth. Iran is complicit. The mullahs in Iran have been funding this and fueling this forever. They're terrorists as well. Again, Israel is right now on an offensive. They're going to stay on this offensive, and God be forbid if you get in the way of it. And after seeing what happened, you can understand.
Oh my gosh! I mean, it was just barbaric. And one would think after the activities and what we continue to see, the footage we continue to see coming out of Israel, that we could all be united in what happened was wrong, and that Israel has an opportunity and deserves a chance to defend itself. And you just don't see it. I mean, for years, and it started with the Obama administration, and then it just grew and it grew and it mushroomed. And how much pressure did the Obama administration put on Israel to strike a deal with Palestine and Hamas?
Yeah.
And Netanyahu kept on saying, Doug, these people, they don't want a deal. They want to kill Jews. They want to kill us. They want the end of Israel. They want the end, and nobody on the left believed them. And now all of a sudden, after what we saw, holy cow! Buckle up. You don't tug on Superman's cape, because part of the critics of Netanyahu have been saying, kind of whispering, he's waited all of his life for this. Well, guess what? He's got his chance now to eliminate Hamas, and he's going to do it. And it's going to be ugly. And, we're going to see live streaming, unfortunately, probably, of some of these hostages that have been taken by Hamas and taken back to Gaza. I mean, I think those executions are going to begin, and they're going to be live streamed. It's going to be terrible. But, I think, I think what comes out of it will be the end of Hamas. And that's a good thing. But man, what we had to go through to get there. And we're not there yet, but I think we're well on our way. And now everybody realizes why Israel has to be so prepared from a defense perspective every second of every day to defend themselves. When you look at where they're at globally, just geographically, it's tragic.
Yeah, and I'm going to save this conversation for another day, because it does need to be a hot wash after the fact, not now. But there is going to have to be a lot of discussion about the intelligence breakdown in Israel. and the American breakdown there as well. But when Egypt calls you 3 days ahead of time and says, hey, something may be going up, you might need, that's an interesting. Egypt actually tried, and from all indications. So, but also the ultimate cowardness is Hamas leadership is in Qatar. Right now, Qatar would actually that's another issue we got to get to at some point. But Hamas leadership, videoing from Qatar out in the safety of everything. I don't think I'd get too, and I'm being joked. They need to look over their shoulder most of the time right now, I bet,
100%.
in Qatar.
100%.
All right. Well, that's our little bit of a hot take on everybody. Please be in prayer for the people of Israel, prayer for the peace of Jerusalem as we go forward. And for those, look, it just find a peaceful solution here. That's what has to happen. But right now it's going to be ugly. I agree with you, Chip. But now, James, we're getting into some other topics here, and James, you brought up some stuff today. I have to get into this because this is, since we're into conspiracy theories here. Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends of the world, in football. I think we got it. Is my basketball coach back when I was in high school saying we got a little love sick going on him. I mean, plunged results. What are we saying? Is it the Taylor Swift jinx on the Kansas City?
Can I just say, do you remember a couple weeks ago when our biggest problem was whether Taylor Swift was going to a football game? And now we're here talking about the stuff we've had to talk about today.
You
know what I'm saying? Like how quickly things change. Okay, can I dive into this conspiracy theory real quick?
James, that's why we have you, brother. You get into the deep conspiracy. I don't
generally believe in conspiracy theories outside of birds aren't real, and what's the other one? I don't know. I forgot the other one. Anyway, they're all good.
UFOs are real.
Birds aren't real. That's why they're on telephone wires. Anyway, they're charging. So, did anyone happen to catch the end of that Vikings game by any chance? Three wildly missed penalties, and one where a ref told the player to put his helmet back on.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
Man,
I don't get
this is in high school, brother.
Yeah.
I get that in high school. I get that even at a college level. But to tell a professional to put his helmet on so we don't call it, you miss the pass interference, and then you miss them killing Kirk Cousins in the process, fine. I can let the Kirk Cousins thing go. It was a good hit. But but then they said no pass interference because the ball was tipped and the ball wasn't tipped. I can't. So listen, I'm fine with the Vikings being 1-4. I hope we trade Kirk Cousins. I'm going to get my USC jersey and root for Caleb Williams all season.
Oh my Lord!
James,
they want Kansas City to win, so Taylor Swift can be at the Super Bowl. That is the end of this conversation. I genuinely don't believe it, but part of me is like, maybe. Because the week before that, the Jets had an opportunity, and they called that on Sauce Gardner, that absurd pass interference on Sauce Gardner. So I'm just saying it's a total possibility, and I understand that this is coming from the bias of a Vikings fan who is heartbroken and realizes that his season's over and is just praying that basketball season starts in 14 days, something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
We're waving the flag for you, brother. Chip, take it.
Listen.
The Vikings last year, what were they, like 11-1 in one-score games?
Yeah, Chip. Oh.
I mean, and what are they?
Football gods? Is that what we're calling it?
4 in one-score games this year. I mean, it's a complete flipping of the script, and I mean, it's about to get worse. Justin Jefferson,
4 games,
the best receiver maybe in the last 10 years in the NFL, is now gone on IR. So. You have a 1-4 Minnesota Vikings team who just lost their best receiver and who now are about to play the 1-4 Chicago Bears, who, by the way, have a resurgent quarterback in Justin Fields. Unbelievable numbers the last 2 weeks. It's not good to be a Vikings fan.
Yeah, let me tell you something though. To get onto the we can get off this topic because nobody wants to talk about Minnesota. But it's funny you say resurgence of Justin Fields, right? I don't know how often you guys are on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, but it's the first few weeks were obviously most of Chicago's radio stations and most of Chicago's, big talkers in sports. They're all like, we got to get rid of Justin Fields. This isn't the process. The head coach screwed him over completely. Going on. What a heel turn from these guys. They're like, this is what we all expected from Justin Fields last year, and it's starting to show up. Don't come at us with that now. You were begging for them to get the 1 and 2 pick so they can get a wide receiver. One of the quarterbacks, mainly Caleb Williams, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't want to hear this now. You don't get to yell and shout now that it's all good and Justin Fields is our guy. I hope Justin Fields has like a 50,000-yard season now because and I hope they beat Detroit because I can't stand Dan Campbell.
Yeah, reality's going to set back in, folks. Come on.
You're right.
A couple of good games.
When we realize Justin Fields is going to be the best player in the NFL, and we're all going to talk about it.
Yeah, Fields will be out. Fields will be on the outs in Chicago again in a few weeks. Give it a break. Yeah, but if he can't, never mind. I'm not even going to go there with Minnesota.
He's not going to be on the out because I tried to claim him this week in my fantasy football league, and I was number 2 in claiming, and somebody beat me to it. And so the guy's now going to throw for 50,000 yards.
I can't believe people were dropping him so quickly. You got to hold on to that. You can get a backup, man. Like, I'm just saying. I know we don't need to talk about fantasy football because that's already a Okay, hold on. You know what? I'm upset. I'm upset this morning, and I'll tell you why. Hold on.
Okay,
so I have my running back room is a nightmare in my fantasy team.
Sounds like
on Monday, I made a trade to get Isaiah Pacheco. The trade is not going through till tomorrow morning. He's playing Denver tonight, and I'm going to have to watch him get what I assume is going to be a 4-touchdown game because Denver's the worst football team I have ever seen play collectively. Doug, Chip, somebody help me. Somebody drag me out of Dallas and bring me home so I can have my mom's good Italian cooking.
Okay, James, I'm going to make you feel even better. This week I was looking at my fantasy team. We have a family fantasy team with just the boys and their girls and Jordan and Lisa. I was fiddling around and I was looking for a running back, and guess who I put on, and not only put on my team, but put him in my starting lineup for tonight.
You say Isaiah Pacheco. I'm coming down. I'm coming to Atlanta myself.
Pacheco is in my team tonight. Yeah, in our league he was.
I hate you guys. You need to have a 12-man league so you can have the same problems that we do.
I got a 6-7 man.
Oh my God. There's probably you can have 10,000 players. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, when you got a 6 or 7, yeah, I mean you have a plethora of talent. I'm gonna have to agree on James on that one. It's these 12-team leagues that make it,
it makes you hate everything about yourself.
Let me tell you what a good fantasy football owner I am this week. After 3 horrendous weeks of bad calf play by starting quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. I did not start Joe Burrow this last week because I thought for certain, especially after and I'm drawing a blank right now on his top receiver, and I can't believe I'm drawing
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase got into a fight with a head coach the week before, and I'm thinking, you know what? They got one more week until they got a bye week. Burrow's going to hurt his calf. Jamar Chase isn't going to do anything. They're going to put Joe Burrow on IR. So guess who I started at quarterback this past week? Dak Prescott.
So, there you go.
Was that your only option? That couldn't have been your only. You should have went somewhere else.
In a 42-10 loss against the San Francisco 49ers.
And 3 picks.
And 3 picks. And then you know who I left on the bench? George Pickens and Dallas Goedert, who collectively went for 45 points. And then I left Zach Moss on the bench. He went for 32 because Taylor
came back.
Was back. I didn't think Moss was going to get any catches. So let's move on.
As my dad always says, you can just walk on the highway and forget about it.
Well, it's going to be coming.
To go to another topic here. How about speaking of the Dallas game? How about George Kittle popping up the shirt? Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
Oh man! And the NFL said considering fining him. I'm like, well, you kind of have to because if you don't, everybody's going to be wearing shirts that say whoever about the other team, right? You kind of not to be a jerk. I think it's hilarious because I also agree about that statement, but. I'm saying it'd be very funny if they didn't find it.
Yeah, Kittle's going to really worry about that $10,000, so it'll go. But it is what it is as we go forward. But by the way, I will have to say my Raiders actually picked up a win, and we beat the Packers. Packers had Justin Fields moment this weekend with Jordan Love as we go forward. I guess here's a question. Jacksonville has to come home from their second home in London for the rest of the season. Have they righted the ship? Is Trevor Lawrence and them going to make their run now like they did last year?
I think so. I think he realizes that Christian Kirk's his number one wide receiver. Like him and Calvin Ridley can be a really good duo, but I think he's realized like I can rely on Christian Kirk and Travis Etienne playing good football. That's their most important thing, right? Because
he's been a stalwart for my running backs.
Because if he plays well, like he has the bounce back that he's had last few weeks, then they are going to be real. They're going to be a real problem.
Okay, switching out of football, but still into violence. I like that transition. A few months ago, there was a show that nobody watches called the Oscars. And during that time, Will Smith, for whatever reason, decides to go up and slap Chris Rock.
That was a year ago, not the most. That was a
well, it's been a year ago. Yes, it's been a year ago. But everybody was talking about it. Basically, Will Smith's career, went straight down the tubes for a while. And now, and I need the two of you's guidance on this because I only saw this on the plane yesterday. Jada Pinkett Smith, has now said that they have been separated for 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, James, I'm gonna go to you. You're our cultural expert here because Chip and I are just sort of shaking our heads.
Does she hate Will? Let's go to the timeline, right? This all started a couple years ago when she apparently had an affair with her son's friend who's some sort of celebrity. Everybody's a celebrity now. And then it was like, Will knew about it. It's all good, blah, blah, blah. Then they go on TV and basically embarrass the man. Said that they had, I'm just blanking out on the word, entanglements. All this stuff. And then he does the slap. And then you have this come out. I think she constantly talks about how much she loved Tupac instead of talking about how much she loves her husband. Listen, this woman, Will Smith did something horrible to her. That's all I can think of. This is because this woman has been on a crusade to destroy Will Smith's career for the last 4 years. It's the only explanation because every time like he gets a little bit of good graces, she's like, no, hold on, I'm not. I swear she didn't tell him about this either.
Oh my beer,
James. When was the last time he got good graces?
Well, what I'm saying is like the small bits where they're like, oh, look, Will Smith did this today. And then all of a sudden it's like, no. Hold on. Jada Pinkett Smith says, hold my beer. And then does something horrible to him. And yeah, he's had a rough go of it. But then he wins the Oscar. It was a moment of like, oh my God, maybe Will Smith is back. And I'm a Will Smith diehard. Like when I was a kid, I watched Fresh Prince every day. All the reruns, and I watched all his movies. I love that man. But my God, the fall from grace, very much like Tiger Woods' fall from grace. But at least Tiger came back. Will Smith had a chance to come back. All he had to do was not slap Chris Rock, and we're talking about him again. All he had to do was not slap Chris Rock. Think about what I'm saying. And then Chris Rock.
Chip, think about James. Hang on a second. I'm gonna think about what you just said. Chip, think about what James just said. All he had to do was not slap Chris Rock.
All he had to do is not walk on stage to a live audience.
There's nothing easier than staying in your seat.
Yeah.
And he decided, you know what? Forget it. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. It's the funny. And then Chris Rock's, I don't know if you guys watched the special. It was hilarious. He just destroyed that whole family at the end. But yeah, it's so weird. Like, I just don't understand. It's every time it's like, oh, you know what? Things have quieted down. Jada Pinkett can't stay out of the news. And it's like, yeah, we've been separated for like 6 years. No big deal. Let's not talk about it. I mean, what do you think we're going to do?
And then she says, well, people just don't understand our relationship. No, they don't.
No, we don't. It sounds like Will Smith is living in hell.
Yes, they don't.
Yeah. Well, not really, because he ain't been with her for a while. Hey, look, Jada Pinkett Smith will give Chuck Schumer a run for the world's fastest, place never to be in front of her in a camera. It goes forward. I don't get it. Here's one. This is sort of a bounce off because it comes from one of our shows we talk about here a lot, and that's the Pat McAfee show. And Pat, but the Aaron, okay, this one was just funny. Now, again, Kelsey's already having to deal with what appears to be a lovesick, a performance problem with Taylor Swift. But now he's done picked a fight, it seems like, with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers wanting to throw down on Kelsey to a debate over vaccines. Okay, how far have we fallen in this world where we don't have a Speaker of the House? We have Israel being invaded and now about to level Gaza Strip. We've got a president who not really quite seemingly sure at times where he's at. And now with all of this going on, we got Aaron Rodgers wanting to have a vax debate with Travis Kelce.
You know what's really hilarious about it is Aaron Rodgers called him Mr. Pfizer because Aaron Rodgers loves controversy, and he became so lovable this offseason, I already hate him again. No, but in all seriousness, it's so funny because like Travis Kelce's just getting his bag and doing the Pfizer commercial and blah blah blah, whatever. You get vax. I really don't care about that stuff anymore. But basically, he called him Mr. Pfizer, and then what's his name was just like Travis Kelce kind of like brushed it off, and Aaron Rodgers was like, I'm not having that. No. We're not letting this get brushed off.
Oh, yeah.
We're throwing down on this vax thing. He's getting RFK Jr. involved. RFK Jr. was probably so confused when he was looking at his phone and going, why the hell am I on the Pat McAfee show? Why am I trending on Twitter right now? He didn't do anything.
Why am I trending on Twitter?
Aaron Rodgers is bored. Okay.
Oh yeah.
He needs something to do, and he always has to be the center of attention. And he's not playing football right now, so he's not in front of a camera, having press conferences after games and having media days after practice during the week. So he's got to do something to be relevant. As Charles Barkley said, Aaron Rodgers is like a good-looking woman who's got to be told every day how good-looking she is. That's Aaron Rodgers.
And the thing is, like, he's doing something miraculous right now. He might come back.
Yeah.
He's doing something miraculous, and that can't just be the conversation. But I get it. This is also something when you're in the spotlight like that all the time, and it's off you for any amount of time. I do imagine it's weird, right? Like he's like, wait, no. Somebody has to talk about me, or I'm going to lose my mind today.
Well, he's got in McAfee.
What better way right now to get back in the spotlight?
Oh, for sure.
If you're going to pick a fight with somebody in the NFL right now to try to get attention, what better person to do it than Travis Kelce?
Yeah,
I mean, look,
that man can't hide from a camera right now.
Exactly.
Chip. Chip James. Look, if Swifty Nation gets a hold of this,
they're coming for A-Rod. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, Swifty Nation gets a hold of everything. They're coming. I agree with Jim.
Yeah, they're coming, baby. Speaking of coming as we go, coming to the West Coast is game day this weekend, and word is out. The long knives are out for ESPN in the Pac-12. And they have been posting on social media about showing up, Washington State showing up. And the one who takes the most heat, in fact, he even mentioned it, I heard on his show, is that Pat McAfee is concerned, and many of them are concerned because they what was one of the quotes that I saw in one of the articles that said that drunken punter who talks. On a scale of 1 to 10, how rowdy do you think it's going to be for the game day crew going out to Washington this week?
Oh, my gosh. Well, keep in mind, Doug, there's I think game day comes on. They're on live from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern time every Saturday. That's a 6 a.m. start. And I guess, it's in, I was going to say
in darkness,
but I guess the game is in Seattle, right? It's in, it's in
just outside of Seattle. Yeah.
So, but those are always interesting to watch. Very rarely. Usually once a year, maybe twice game day will do they'll make a trip out to the West Coast and and it's always interesting to watch. It's going to be really interesting to watch this time with everything going on. And it gives me another chance to give a plug for my boy Bo Nix. I'm proud of him at Oregon. and hope Oregon wins the game, wins the national title, and he can win the Heisman Trophy. He deserves it with all he went through at Auburn. Anyway, I'm done. I'm
off your Auburn soapbox.
Off Auburn. James, you think it's
I'm so pumped for the
muted?
rowdiness. Here's the thing. He's gonna pick Oregon, right? Pat McAfee's gonna have to. He can't not pick them.
I think he will.
Right.
I think that's right.
In the away game,
right?
Yeah.
So that crowd is gonna lose it because he usually picks. It seems like he usually picks the home team, as far as I know.
Yeah, he's a home.
And I get that. Like that, he's doing it so the crowd goes nuts. But I think in his right mind, he knows he's got to pick Oregon, and that crowd is going to turn fast. And I'm excited. I love that. I love when the crowd turns. It's fantastic. It's like when Lee Corso does it, they lose their mind. It's fantastic.
Yeah. For Georgia, we always prefer Lee to pick somebody else. So
yes, in the South, you want Lee to not pick your team.
That's right. Yeah, you don't want Lee to pick you. I love Lee to death.
Corso pick.
Yeah, Lee's a national treasure, but don't pick Georgia.
It's like Charles Barkley making predictions. They've never come true, not once.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Auburn's been so bad the last 5 years. Lee hasn't picked us for almost a decade. And, it's crazy.
It's nuts. Hey, well, speaking of which, I have to go back and do a replay. We got two last topics here. We have a zoo topic coming up, so get ready. And but this one is, I'm gonna have to say, I'm coming back last week with my beautiful bride. We're riding back from Nashville. Traffic was terrible for those of you who don't understand Nashville, Chattanooga, and then picking apples in Ellijay, Georgia, which Chip knows a lot about.
Oh, yes.
The traffic was absolutely horrendous. And so I'm listening to, which, by the way, I'm going to plug here for XM Radio, if you have it. They do a college football blitz on the 84, Channel 84. So they go, just like the Red Zone, they go back and forth between games. So remember, as we were leaving last week, your fearless leader here on the podcast leader here said, I picked Maryland over Ohio State.
Yes.
Missouri over LSU, and Oklahoma over Texas.
Yes.
At one point, I was looking like, my God, why didn't I not go to Vegas?
Oh, I was thinking the same thing when I saw the halftime score in College Park. I mean, what was it, 10-10 at halftime?
It should have been 13-10. Yeah. Don't get me talking about clock management.
Yeah, no, well done. And I totally overlooked the domination that Texas had the year before. Had I remembered that, I probably would have gone with Oklahoma, but I have to own it. I took Texas and ended up losing. But no, Doug, you had a good week last week.
It was close. But you talking about me yelling at the radio, and Lisa's looking at me. I mean, of course, she's been with me 37 years, 35 married, and she's like, Doug, what? They can't hear you. I said, no, he took the ball. Why did he throw the ball? They could have been up 13-10, and they had the ball coming back after halftime. Are you freaking kidding me? But Missouri, here's a preview. And James, Texas. I'm sure the Texas morning is happening out there right now in Texas. So, but Missouri may be Georgia's hardest game in November besides Ole Miss. And you got Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Missouri in November now. But Missouri's playing some good ball.
They are, but Missouri's always a tricky place to play, right? It's it's not easy to get to. It's not one of those college football environments that you think is a really intimidating environment. But quietly, Missouri's been very efficient at home, and I think Missouri plays Georgia in Athens this year. And I think it's helpful for the Dogs. I mean, had it been a road game for Georgia State, but no, that was a hell of a game, and I got a backdoor cover on that game because that pick six at the end of the game allowed me to win with LSU covering, but they had no business covering in that game.
No, they didn't. Neither did Ohio State on that one either. But James, real quickly, did the Texas flags go down, or is it just a morning out there?
So, Doug, I think I talked to you for a second about this, but I went to my first time I went to the Texas State Fair Saturday. I forgot the game. I blanked out. I'm like, yeah, let's just go. So me and my brother went, and there's traffic for it, but it was nuts. And then I realized, oh my God, Texas is playing OU right now at the Cotton Bowl. Like, this is happening, and it's in. I don't know if you've ever been to the Texas State Fair before, but it's at the Cotton Bowl. It surrounds it.
Yeah.
you can hear the ground was shaking with every big play, right? But what a game it ends on. And then the people started filing out. Doug, Chip, let me tell you something. I've never laughed so hard at that many sad faces in my life, because there were people crying. There were people like, they're shook, like their whole life depends on this one game. And it went the worst possible way for Texas, the way it ended. And there was still OU fans just dogging all these people from Texas. There was a guy standing outside the building, outside by like this food court, just yelling at Texas fans. He just kept going, who just won? OU. Who just won? Like for like 30 minutes. And the best was all the traffic signs are horns down, look up, drive safely, OU sucks. Like those were real traffic signs that were lit up as you're driving around, and on the way back it was like horns up, and I was like, and you just hear people beeping like horns down. It was fantastic. I couldn't believe how hard the ground was shaking every single play. It was unreal.
Well, the worst part about it, if you end up on the losing end of that stick, is those rivalry games and those top 25 matchups.
They mean a lot.
They're normally primetime football games.
Yeah.
But the Red Rebel rivalry is never a primetime football game.
No, it's 12 o'clock every time.
It's 11 o'clock local kickoff, a.m. And so if you lose that game, you got to make it through the rest of your day before you can put your head on the pillow and go to sleep.
No, those people went to sleep immediately. And I tell you another thing, everyone who was there, that you just basically in the fair at that point, all the alcohol was taken immediately after that. You couldn't get on a line to drink.
I bet. Hey, all right, last story for the day here on Friday's Finest. I just read this on the plane yesterday. I was coming in. Did y'all realize that after next year, the United States will no longer have pandas in any of our zoos?
I did not realize that.
China is taking back, because the China only leases them out or gives them out. In fact, we have to pay for them to come over here. Washington, D.C. is getting ready to ship their pandas back. Atlanta is one of the last ones to still have a panda. Atlanta will be shipping theirs back. They're already gone from Memphis, already gone from San Diego. And come, I think, this time next year, or maybe 25, there'll be no more giant pandas in the United States.
So we just go to China and we go to the panda dealership and lease one? Is that what's happening?
The government. Huh?
How do you lease a panda?
Well,
they lend us the pandas? Wait.
It's a scientific lease, so to speak. They take – it's no joke. I'm not making this crap up. Scientific lease, and it's like $1 million a year.
Picked up a Kia, and I picked up a panda at the dealership today.
So that's what happens. But so for all of you who want to see a panda up close, you're going to have to come to Atlanta or go to Washington before they get rid of it.
It's just another example of Joe Biden's America.
We've lost the pandas under Joe Biden's administration.
When they talk about Joe Biden's administration, the worst part of it is going to be that he lost the pandas. It's going to be pulled out of Afghanistan. Pandas being released to China. Those are going to be the two
border,
marks on this.
We gave in, folks. I don't make up the news. I just report the news, and that's the way it is. So, all right. Any last thoughts, Chip?
Last thoughts are Auburn plays LSU in Death Valley this weekend, and I'm glad it's a night game so I can go to bed as soon as it's over with. But no, last thoughts are my prediction is next week at this time we're still not going to have a speaker, and I think that's not a good reflection on the party. But I hope I'm wrong.
James,
this is not an excuse to go steal pandas from the zoo, but if you are one of the people who stole the monkeys, get after it.
Last thought, from my perspective, it is going to be I agree with Chip on the fact that I'm not sure we have a speaker next week. I do believe that it could come to an end next week by the time we get back together. But as we go forward on, I am looking at my predictions now. We talked about this last week. I do believe even further now it will be Alabama, Georgia in SEC championship game first week in December. Alabama's riding the ship. Georgia better. They woke up last week. They played a good game against Kentucky. Kentucky, but they at least Beck looked good. The offense looked good. The defense stopped the run, which everybody was concerned about. So there's the predictions of the week. Folks, y'all go out and have a good one. It's always good to get together with you here on Friday's Finest. Can't ever not do it, though, without my helpers. Chip, say goodbye.
We'll see you guys. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
James, out of here.
Take care, everybody.
And we're out on the Doug Collins Podcast. See you next Friday.